Today I'm going to talk about two very cult 80s classics. Teen Wolf, starring Michael J. Fox, the same year he did Back to the Future, and Teen Wolf 2, starring a baby-faced Jason Bateman. The Teen Wolf movies are definitely what you would call guilty pleasures. They are very stupid, but a lot of fun. And a lot of the fun comes from the fact that these are movies that you definitely will not see every day. Now, I know there's that Teen Wolf show that's on MTV, I think, but I've never watched it, so I'm not going to make any references to that. And as for story, the first Teen Wolf stars Michael J. Fox as a high school basketball player. Yes, the 5'4" Michael J. Fox is a basketball player in this movie. And no real shock, he sucks. And then one day during a traditional 80s high school party, he discovers that he is a werewolf. And why is he a werewolf? Turns out it's hereditary, and his dad's also one too. And this film completely ignores any rules that traditional werewolf movies set up. He doesn't have to wait for the full moon to change. In this film, he can do it whenever the fuck he wants, even during the day. And he has complete control over his mind when he's in werewolf form. And at first he's scared, but then he realizes that when he becomes a werewolf, he can excel at basketball. Yeah, that's pretty much the plot of the Teen Wolf movie. Michael J. Fox is a werewolf playing high school basketball. And it's just as stupid as it sounds, but it's pretty fun to watch. And it goes the stereotypical high school sports movie route where unpopular kid becomes good at sports, becomes popular, starts to lose touch with his friends he's known all of his life, becomes an asshole, and then at the end realizes the people that he had all this time are the right people. And at the end of the big basketball championship, he decides not to play as the werewolf, but as himself. And it doesn't take a genius to see the be yourself, don't be something you're not message. And as for the plot of Teen Wolf 2, same fucking story, only this time it's boxing. And college. By this point, Michael J. Fox was too good to be in a Teen Wolf movie, so the filmmakers went the usual Plan B route and had the main character be Michael J. Fox's character's cousin, played by Jason Bateman. And the second film, as hard as it is to believe, is even dumber than the first one. And it's mostly owed to the fact that it takes itself a little too seriously. I mean, it still has the absurd plot of a werewolf playing sports, but it still takes itself a bit too seriously, and has some dramatic scenes that I can't believe the film actually expects the audience to feel emotional about. But there are some really enjoyable scenes in the second one, including a great boxing training montage. And the soundtrack is something I think even Brad Jones would compliment. And yes, these movies are unbelievably retarded and absurd, but at the same time, they are a ton of fun, just great campy 80s cheese. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of these two films. They're stereotypical 80s sports movies, and if you took out the werewolf stuff, they would just be that, generic sports movies. And the werewolf stuff, I guess, adds an extra bit of absurdity that makes it somewhat special. I really enjoy them, and if you like dumb 80s films, I recommend them. However, I can't let this mini review slide without mentioning the one thing I cannot suspend my disbelief for when it comes to these fucking movies. And that would be the fact that almost every character in these movies who encounter the werewolf guys, when these guys become werewolves, like Michael J. Fox becomes a werewolf while playing a basketball game, and the crowd is silent for a bit, but the moment he makes a basket, they cheer, and from then on, everybody's pretty accepting. And I guess the part about people accepting it wouldn't bug me so much if it wasn't for the fact that there are no genuine reactions. Almost nobody reacts the way someone should if they found out werewolves were real. People just kind of go with it or say it's cool. Me, if I saw someone turn to a werewolf while watching a basketball game, my reaction would be, what the fuck? I just cannot get over this. No one in this film really shows any surprise to the fact that werewolves exist in this movie's universe. I think the most ridiculous moment of this is in the first film when Michael J. Fox comes out as a werewolf to his best friend, and we get some casual 80s homophobia when his friend, after hearing Michael go, I have to tell you something and I just need to talk about it, and his friend goes, are you going to tell me you're a fag? Because I don't think I can handle if you're a fag. And he goes, no, I'm not a fag, I'm a werewolf. And he then turns into a werewolf, and the guy is a little wide-eyed. He stumbles a little, but he doesn't freak out at all. And within 2 minutes, he becomes fully accepting of the whole fucking thing. It's just... I don't usually get frustrated, but this is something that has bugged me ever since I first saw this movie almost over half a decade ago. And as on a fun note, I just want to go back to what I said less than a minute ago. That little dialogue exchange between them about, are you a fag? No, I'm a werewolf. Don't get me wrong, this scene is homophobic given how things were in the 80s, but at the same time, I do find this exchange kind of funny, because when you come down to it, it's kind of like this. Oh, you're a supernatural, long-haired, fang, gross monster? That's cool. As long as you're not gay.